Life is war. Everyone loves the idea of peace and tranquility. Everyone loves an ideal world where there is only love and compassion. Everyone loves the illusion of living an easy and a pain-free life. Humanity in its nature is not capable of handling the entirety of truth. That is why they develop subjectivism around everything that they could not handle and accept. That is why they resist and reject everything that causes pain and suffering, even those that are inevitable. This life and this world have a side that most of us would not rather relish in. The side that we rarely portray and showcase in order to preserve our ideals. The side that is evident in everyday circumstances but we choose not to pay any attention to. The side that is much darker and sinister that we could even question our own sanity. Most of us, especially in the modern era, wants to believe that both this world and human beings are only and must only be capable of love, compassion, and empathy. And we all want to subdue and reject the reality that this world and human beings are also capable and have great capacity for hate, mischief, and violence. The truth is, all of us who believe that ideal are also hypocrites to our own beliefs. All of us possess that dark and sinister side as well, and we rarely ever want to admit that it is a part of us. A huge part of us, in fact. Even though we have committed such acts over the course of our lives that we ourselves don't want to believe exist within us. If we are not capable of violence and destruction, there will be absolutely no laws imposed on us whatsoever. Behind closed doors, every single one of us would genuinely admit to ourselves that we all love to be the one in control. We all love to feel superior and be better than everyone. We all love to exercise our will and have it manifest into reality. We all have a great capacity to be selfish, ruthless, and destructive for circumstances to go our way, even escalating to the point where we are willing to do it at the expense of the well-being of others. We just don't mention or showcase them because they are both considered politically incorrect and socially unacceptable. These conflicts always exist, even ever so slightly, to the point where we barely notice them occurring. Within friendships, relationships, partnerships, and collaborations, this subtle physical and psychological warfare and power dynamics are all taking place in order to place ourselves above all others in the pursuit of control and dominance. Deception, corruption, manipulation, accusations, peer pressure, abuse, bullying, blackmail, betrayal, and even murder. People utilizing fear and desperation for financial gains and embed constructivism. People manufacturing false rumors in order to subdue one's credibility and remove them from relevancy. People stabbing the others in the back for the sake of clout and short-term gratifications. People declaring and imposing threats to watch one emotionally crumble and exit themselves from this world. And people taking others' lives to satiate cravings, eliminate competitions, and future threats. The extent on which we are willing to go in order for circumstances to be on our sides are beyond what we want to initially believe. People are selfish and their priorities come first. The scale and magnitude of conducts one is willing to do depends on their level of greed and desperation. We human beings have our own most basic needs of survivability and reproduction, and we must fulfill them somehow. In the case of men, both financial wealth and access or options for sex are the two most desired commodities because not only do they allow us to fulfill those basic needs, but they allow us to prosper much further in them as well. That is why both money and sex always sells. We men are competing against one another in terms of physical appearance, acquiring resources, mental toughness, competencies, and lifestyle setup. And as a byproduct, we will gain access to options of physically attractive women and the potential of unlimited sexual access. And unlike what most of us would want to believe and what most gurus would love to tell that all of us can achieve this desired state and be winners, the reality is that life at the top is not a place for everyone, and in today's age of high expectations and high standards, will not be a place for everyone. There is and will be more of an uneven distribution of wealth and sex. Those men who will acquire vast amounts of wealth and sexual access are those men who are insanely willing and driven to get there. Those who are risking everything and wanting to do what most men wouldn't even contemplate in doing. Whenever there is a concept of winners, there will always be losers. The men at the top who are physically attractive, financially wealthy, and living an exciting and adventurous life will possess the access to extremely attractive women. The men who are not at the top, who are physically inferior, living through debts, sedentary and boring, will be scraping the leftovers of men who are living at the top, or worse, will not even receive any slice of what remains of the pie. That is why those men are willing to settle for less. Desires also highly involves dominance. The battle for desire will also inevitably involve the battle for supremacy. People, especially men who are able to position themselves, whether genuinely or manufactured or deceptively above the others, are automatically more desirable to women, because they are perceived to be in command of respect, competence, and reliability. Superiority is what women are looking for in men. As they say it, women want to be with men that other men aspire to become and other women want to spread their legs for. After all, reproduction is also virtually treated as a marketplace in the end, as we are all trying to get the best of what we can have. Those who are both of high value and rare are inevitably more desirable, just like diamonds. All of us are born with our own unique set of cards. Some of us are fortunate and some of us aren't fortunate. Some of us are blessed and some of us are cursed. Unfair as it is, as I've said time and time again, you have to deal with it and make the best out of it, because it is your only available option apart from exiting yourself. This is all about what you choose to do with the circumstances that is given and presented to you. As much as people often say the sky is the limit, in reality, all of us have our own set of limitations with regards to our potential, possibilities, and opportunities. Our days in this world are numbered, and our chances to explore and maximize our potential are also numbered. Time is both our biggest ally and also enemy. We will never know when is our due date to leave this world. There is only so much time you can spend in exploring the choices that you have up to the point where you realize that you don't have the capacity to do that anymore. The last major choice that you made to attempt to steer your life in the right direction could possibly be your last chance for a meaningful and impactful act on this planet. People often waste their youth, wander aimlessly, give half-assed efforts, and give in to wishful hoping to direct them to a bright, flourishing, and meaningful future. They start to believe that age is nothing but a number and that possibilities and opportunities are endless. They think that circumstances will always eventually be on their side no matter how dark it seemed at one point. Possibilities and opportunities are always in favor to those who have the gifts and resources, and not everyone is born with a silver spoon on their plate. For most of us, we have limits when it comes to the number of choices we have, and we have to cultivate our own potential and capabilities first in order to eventually develop and be exposed to more choices. And that in itself takes a lot of time out of us. Couple that with the fact that we only have one head, 2 arms, and 2 legs, we can't be in many places at once. So we have to be very careful when we are making crucial choices in life that we would want to eventually be willing to fully all-out commit, especially in our youth. We have to both accept the rewards and consequences for every decision because they come with every choice that we make. And this is what we often tend to ignore and underestimate. We became too drunk in the youthful energy that we have to the point where we feel that we can indulge in the freedom and pleasure of aimlessness and irresponsibility for years. Until we get to the point where we realize that time moves very quickly and that you have wasted the precious time you have during your youth to explore and maximize your potential. And that's where regret comes in. This is arguably the most important battle of them all. Your battle with yourself is the most crucial and impactful one of them all. And I'm not speaking this from a metaphoric or spiritual perspective. Your complete, realistic understanding and ownership of yourself will make or break the trajectory of where your life will be going. Because with everything, it begins in the mind. Your own mind, to be exact. Your perspective towards yourself must be as brutally honest and reflecting reality as much as possible. And you must be able to see things in the outside world as how they are and not how they can never be to you, no matter how emotionally painful they can be. If you consider yourself as incompetent and it reflects the reality around you, admit it. If you consider yourself poor and it reflects the reality of your circumstances, admit it. This is not self-deprecation. This is self-reflection. It is being honest with yourself so that you can assess the situation you are in and where you currently stand. Self-deprecation is where you emotionally escalate or amplify your seemingly dire circumstances to the point of relinquishing your dignity and self-worth. Every day you are in constant battle with yourself. facing your own weaknesses and deficiencies, your own emotions and tendencies, your own compulsion, urges and bad habits, your own vulnerability towards temptations and distractions, how you react to comparisons, and your own dark side that you most likely have shunned away at the back of your head. Understanding yourself to a very deep and high extent, being able to play to your strengths, compensate your weaknesses, and being able to harness and be in control of yourself will not only bring clarity to the current circumstances of your life and the path that you are willing to take, but also it inevitably puts you in a very good position to greatly understand other people and what lies underneath their skin, on which you could utilize and even exploit to your own advantage, because we humans are not so different in terms of the generalization of our biology and psychology. We constantly have a battle of judgments in our own minds of what is right and what is wrong, and oftentimes we reject the objective truth in favor of subjectivism because it caters to our emotions and it makes us feel comfortable. Up to the point where we are awakened with reality, then our expectations are shattered and we are exposed to the bare mechanics of how things and circumstances operates, that we experience that conflict between our reasoning and emotional reactions, your conscience and your ego. This is where your mindset shift will either take place towards objectivity or you will stay in subjectivity and condemn reality for what it is and remain in a disillusioned perspective. Life is a constant back and forth battle for all of us, whether it is with ourselves or it is against others. Everyone loves and wants peace. Yet peace can only be achieved through war or at least through some form of conflict. If you want to live a life that you want, you have no choice but to fight for it. There are inevitable struggles and battles necessary to face and overcome to get to where you want to be. Every people of power have their own agenda for peace, and that is what initiates wars. Conflict will always be inevitable and imminent in life, and you have to possess at least the acceptance of this certainty in order to be tranquil and survive within this endless distress. Thank you for watching.